Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's New Year's Eve and it is a grey, stormy, blustery, dark day today. So I've got a giant light on, which is a little harsh, but it was the only option. And I've got myself a Prosecco, which was not the only option, but seemed more appealing than another cup of tea. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and thank you all for following along with my vlogmas and leaving lovely comments and just being here really. So thank you so much. And I thought I would give you a little update on what's been going on here before we head into the new year. So we had a lovely Christmas and I managed to get some bits done that I wanted to before Christmas Day. I finished Johnny's cardigan, which I will show you, and I made the sacks, like stocking sacks for Santa. So I'll show you both of those. And then since then, I've done more knitting. I've actually finished off 3 things, which I'm really amazed with. I'm wearing one of them. So this was technically finished. I showed this in one of my Vlogmas videos, but I wanted it to be a tiny bit longer than it was. It's my new sweater pattern that I'm planning to release on Valentine's Day. It's the Arconia sweater, and I chat a bit more about the inspiration of this a couple of Vlogmases back. It was based on one worn in Only Murders in the Building on Disney+. And the building they all live in is called Arconia, so that's where it got its name from. I really love this. I think I made it a bit too long now. I thought that might happen. It was just that I only really needed to add just the tiniest amount of length, and I didn't want to not add quite enough and do the whole rib. I think I went overboard, but you know, there's just no pleasing some people. I think it needed to be about 1 centimetre. Or yeah, I wanted it like there. Do you know, I think what I might do is just make the rib a bit smaller on this particular edition. Just get rid of that last 1.5 centimetres of rib and rebind off, because I can't be bothered to pull it all out again. But other than that, I absolutely love this. It's so easy to wear. It's really cozy with this neck. It's the first time I've ever had anything ever with a neck like this. I think because I've got such a round face, I've always just avoided any form of kind of roll neck, turtleneck, high neck. Well, not high neck. I've worn kind of crew necks, but I love it. I love it. I think the older you get, the less you care about all these, you know, you shouldn't do this if you have that. I don't care. Maybe it's, well, I haven't really had any Prosecco yet, so it can't be that. But no, I just don't care anymore. So yes, very pleased with this. Let me get on to showing you all the other things I finished. So I put that on my lovely Christmas coaster from Jules, which I plan to keep out all year because it's not going to be just for Christmas. So this is Johnny's little cardigan that I finished. The dogs are probably going to start scratching, barking, demanding food in a minute, so I may have to pause and go and deal with them, but I will put up with them for as long as it's not completely interrupting us. So here is the Merriment cardigan. I've forgotten the name of the designer, but it's on Ravelry. So if you just search Merriment, it doesn't normally have this part on the sleeves. That was because I didn't have enough yarn, so I had to get a bit creative. It looks so cute on him, and it is so thick and cozy because of the Fair Isle. And the yarn is just gorgeous and soft. It's knit in John Arbon Knit by Numbers, which is a non-superwash merino, and they do it in the DK, which this is, and they also do it in a 4-ply, and the colour range is incredible. Such lovely stuff, super soft. I can't do rustic yarns myself, and I'm pretty sure Johnny has inherited my very pale, very sensitive Irish skin, so I don't think he's going to want rustic yarns either. So this is perfect for Fair Isle because it's not superwash, so it's not slippery, and that just doesn't work as well for Fair Isle. The grippiness of this is fine, possibly not as great as something like a Highland, but I will take that as a trade for it being super soft. So yeah, super pleased with this, and he's not going to fit this for much longer. That's the only thing. It's, I think it was 1 year size, and he'll be 14 months on the 8th of January. So I don't know, I should have probably done the 18 month, but then it's kind of a seasonal wear, you know, by the time he actually is 18 months, we'll be getting into the spring. It's always tricky with babies. He's not huge, but he's not tiny. So I'd like to knit him more Vero stuff for sure. Definitely for next autumn, winter. Probably in future knits, I might go a little bit more geometric and a little bit less botanical for a boy, but you know, I think it's absolutely fine. Yeah, really happy, and I was really pleased to get it done. I don't know why it mattered if I got it done for Christmas or not, but it did in my head, so that was a win. And then these were the stocking sacks. Oh, I filled it with cars. The boys were playing with cars, and actually it did occur to me as I popped them all in one of these would just be good things to have in. I've got some dinosaur fabric left over from the quilt I made, the patchwork quilt I made for Jack. They would just be handy things to whip up, just to have a few of around the place, just to gather up those little toys that get scattered all over the place and pop them in a bag. These have been kind of tied to the fire guard. We've got a giant big fire guard around our log burner at the moment, and just an attractive and easy way to store things. So obviously these are a little festive with the fabric. Do you know, I actually showed you guys a different fabric. I think I had the nutcracker fabric, the tree fabric, and then from a separate place I'd ordered this fabric, which was my favorite, but I didn't think this was going to arrive on time because I hadn't been given any kind of indication of when it was going to come, and we had all that problem with Royal Mail. So I'd planned to use the nutcracker fabric, but then when this actually turned up in time, I was so happy. I think this is just the most perfect Christmas fabric. I absolutely love it. All the colours today are looking weird on here, but I think you're getting a pretty true example of this. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love these kind of, the red barns, which could be, they could be America or Canada, or they could be Sweden. They're just gorgeous. I love it so much. So anyway, I used some relatively thick Vilene fusible wadding, which Vilene is the only one I like. I've tried other brands of it, and they just don't stick to the fabric so well. They don't last as long. This stuff is just lovely. It's really nice, and this is quite a thick one. They come in different grades, but that is, I don't know, it makes them much nicer. I really like it. So yeah, I'm gonna make some with the leftover dinosaur fabric for sure, even if it was just like in pieces, like slightly patchworky or something. They're just so handy to have for kids' toys, because they do just get scattered, don't they? So yeah, I got those done in time, and Santa did turn up, so that was good. And then yeah, since Christmas I added the slightly too much length to my sweater, and the pattern is now 100% ready to go out to test knitters, which so many of you replied on Instagram already to when I mentioned it weeks back, and then life happened and all my messages, I think, have kind of got lost in my inbox deep down. I'm going to try and go through them and reply, but I may end up just having to do another test knit call, but fingers crossed I can get through and find everyone's messages. So in addition to the jumper that I'm wearing, I also managed to finish off 2 pairs of socks, which is kind of crazy. I was not expecting to finish these in such a short period of time, but I don't know, these ones I finished first. They're a vanilla sock, as you can see. It's knit in a yarn from Beehive Yarns, who is lovely Beth. Her yarn is incredible. This is called Backwoods Barbie. It was from a Dolly Parton yarn club that I had to sign up for, and I mean, this colorway is just incredible, isn't it? So fun, and it's sparkly. But yeah, I knit these so fast. I think, so over the last year, I want to say, have taught myself how to knit continental style. I've always been an English knitter. I used to throw my yarn, so that's where you kind of literally bring it all the way around the needle. I did that for years, and then I started flicking, so I'd have it tensioned on this finger and flick the yarn, which is much quicker. But when I knit socks, I get hand pain. I don't really get it from any other tension of knitting. It's definitely the tiny needles and the tight gauge of socks just hurts my hands. And so I end up doing the wax baths and having to take breaks from knitting. It got really bad at one point, and it's kind of, it's sad. It's reduced my sock knitting abilities. I keep toying with the idea of getting a sock machine, but I love knitting the socks. I like them being hand knit, and I don't know, I still kind of want one. I think it would be really nice as well, because in terms of our yarn for the shop, we could have samples of everything always knit up to show you how the yarn is on a typical sock. I know it varies depending on your stitch count, your gauge, your needle size, but on a typical kind of sock, you could see roughly how the yarn looks knit up. Would be a good thing to have. They're so expensive. I don't know, we shall see. But anyway, so I ended up learning to knit continental style because my mum was also having some hand issues, and I was looking up for her, and it says, you know, it's less movement. Your hands move less, so it can be really good for that. And so she started doing it, and she did find it better. And then I started doing it. I had so much trouble tensioning the yarn in my left hand. It was, I think it's like one of those things where, don't they say that if you already ski, snowboarding is incredibly hard to do, but if you've never skied, snowboarding is much easier to pick up, and vice versa. It's almost like my brain was like, no, that's the wrong hand. The yarn should be in your right hand. I don't know. I just found it so hard. I ended up watching, I think it was on Craftsy, and I think it was just one of their free kind of small tutorial videos. And she actually tensioned the yarn around her wrist and then around her finger and held it, because I would find that otherwise my yarn was getting looser and looser, and my finger was getting further and further away from the needle. It was getting harder and harder to do. But I persevered, and I now find it really, really easy, especially with the tiny needles. And I think that is why this went so quick, because I think I now find it actually to be much, much quicker even than my flicking with the right hand. And I didn't have any pain from doing that at all. So I think vanilla socks are the way for me to go, which is a little upsetting because I do love doing a textured or a lace sock, but I'd rather be able to knit vanilla socks pain-free than not really be able to knit socks so much. So yes, I did those, and then I finished these, which I love. I mean, I love them both, but these are the Mercury socks, which is, I've knit this pattern so many times. It's a beautiful sock pattern. It's free on Ravelry, and oh, I just love it so much. I think it's so effective. It looks so pretty. It looks really pretty on the foot as well, and it keeps your interest. It's a 5-row repeat, but only 2 of those rows are lace rows. They're super simple to memorize. So after you've done it a few times, you are just, don't even need to think about it too much, but it's enough to keep you wanting to keep going. And especially with the self-striping yarn. This is our Very Casey Christmas self-striping. We did have some self-striping this year. It literally went in a flash. We've got so many Valentine's self-striping colorways planned, and we're hoping to have vastly more than we had for Christmas, because it's not such a crazy time of year in terms of other yarn. So fingers crossed we will have enough to go around this time. And yeah, that, you know, Valentine's are the first colorways I ever did. So there's Lovebird, Lover's Lane, Follow the Petals, and oh, what's the last one? Lovebird, Lover's Lane, Follow the Petals. My memory at the moment is a disaster. I keep having this thing where I will find myself in a room and I'm like, why am I in here? Or I just lose my phone. About 5 times a day I lose my phone. I do not know what is going on. I don't know if it's a post-baby thing. I seem to remember having this after Jack. I think it might be a post-baby / not enough sleep thing. But I can't remember our 4th colourway. Skating at the Palace. There you go. Skating at the Palace. So yes, so there's plenty of self-striping coming to the shop, but this is a Christmas one. Anyway, love this. This did hurt my hands a tiny bit, but not too bad. And last night I did a lovely wax bath on them whilst we watched, we started watching The Essex Serpent. I own the book. I have not read it. Jan has read it. And I loved it. I wasn't I just kind of clicked on it because I didn't really know what I was in the mood for. And I just loved it. I thought it was so relaxing to watch. Enough happened to keep my interest, but I wasn't in the mood for anything too much. And I finished these off and then did a nice wax bath on my hands, and it was lovely. So I'm kind of really looking forward to watching the rest of that series because, you know, I just felt like it was just something really good about it. Really atmospheric, and the acting was really good. And I really like Claire Danes. Yeah. And I really liked her strawberry blonde hair in it. I thought it was really cool. Anyway, yes, they are finished. So I now have 2 lovely new pairs of socks to add to my sock drawer for the new year. And I had already done the rib on these. For some reason, I had a really, really prominent ladder on the side of these socks, which I don't normally ever get. I don't know why that had happened. But this is our Fly Me to the Moon colourway. So it's supposed to look like the sky, you know, the pretty pinky blue sky with clouds and little birds flying. And I just think we've managed, if I do say so myself, we've managed to capture that. So I'm looking forward to picking those back up this evening. I've actually got loads of other knitting to do, but I don't know, I just really need to replenish my socks. They've been neglected. So Jan has popped out with Johnny. He's gone to get some more logs. We are going to have a fire tonight and a lovely dinner. And we're going to watch Where the Crawdads Sing, which I have already seen. And I've also already read the book. But Jan has not read the book or seen the film. And I've been trying to get him to watch it for weeks. But he's been kind of like, oh no, it's a bit late to start a film. Or, oh, we'll save it for something. I don't know why. I think because he knows how much I love the book and the film. I'm so excited to see it again. I absolutely loved what they did. I think it was stunning, just visually so perfect. And I think they cast it really, really well. Obviously, you always lose some of the detail when you condense a book like that to a film or, you know, anything really. But I just think they did it beautifully. I loved the setting. I actually think, if anything, they made the marshland just come to life more than I even got from the book. But her clothes, as I watched it, I was like, I need to make that. I need to make that. Oh, I'm going to have to pattern cut that dress. Oh, I'm going to have to make that blouse. The whole way through. And the quilt, she has the most stunning cathedral window quilt, which, in fact, on my WhatsApp group with some of my friends, we were all talking about making one. I have done cathedral window before. It's a really, really interesting quilting technique. You can do it kind of, so you're actually adding the wadding as you go, or you can do that at the end. There's various approaches to it, but it's a beautiful design, and her quilt was really, really stunning. But yeah, so I'm just looking forward to visually seeing the film again. But I felt they did the storyline really well as well, and yeah, just generally really loved it. So yes, that will be our New Year's Eve. I am feeling in 2 minds about the new year. On a personal level, I feel very excited. I feel like I have a lot of goals that I want to achieve in the new year, and I feel well equipped to achieve them. I feel like I'm at a good point to achieve them, and I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm headed. But I I also feel a little bit of trepidation because the last few years have just been really tough on the world in general. So I feel like a mix, but I think that's okay. I think that's probably how a lot of people are feeling. But on a personal level, I feel, yeah, positive. I always love the new year. It feels like Monday, but extra. And I'm really excited about all the things on my kind of to-do list. And I've kind of been listening to some podcasts and stuff on goals and resolutions and just, I don't know, various approaches to the whole subject. And for me, I like setting resolutions. I know there's like it's kind of divisive. A lot of people feel like it's setting yourself up for failure and no one ever sticks to them. But one thing I did actually hear, which was on an ADHD channel on YouTube that I've been watching a lot of recently, was that we can't sustain huge degrees of change. So as long as our goals are relatively, like, I think it's like 5 degrees we can change at a time. So as long as they are small and attainable, or we break them down into small attainable goals, then they're achievable. I hope you guys all have a lovely New Year's, however you choose to celebrate, and a very healthy and happy 2023. Anyway, sending you all my best wishes, and thanks for being here, and I hope to see you very, very soon in 2023.